Lou Thesz faithfully defended his World Heavyweight Championship.
Rogers strut. Kowalski's got him right where he wants him.
Dory Funk Jr. wanting that World Heavyweight Championship.
10 pounds of pure gold.
Simon Felder's Dusty Rhodes has just become the World Heavyweight Wrestling Champion.
Presenting the greatest organization in wrestling history.
We always deliver on our promises at the National Wrestling Alliance.
Yeah, but pretty hard, and look at what are you gonna work now? Oh!
Hey everybody, it's Durger time. Thank you for joining me once again for another episode of NWA, the Dynasty. We are here after our big pay-per-view. It was pretty good. People were actually a little shocked by some of the title changes, which was really fun to hear. Obviously, Ricky Stark's now back to television champion. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Our Alliance titles, or tag titles, Motor City Machine Guns actually took the titles from Pillman and Brock Anderson afterwards they had a big betrayal by Pillman. And Allysin Kay retained, but now has a big challenger. So, very interesting stuff. And ultimately, I thought it was a pretty good pay-per-view. In terms of growth, I don't know how it did. We can take a look, certainly. I mean, it looks like we're moving at a pretty good clip here. We're at 37 right now for July 23rd. I'm still not sure what I want to do in terms of this, because our production values is something that is definitely potentially holding us back, and that is a concern for me, just because I want to get us to a positive financial growth at some point. And it feels like we're not going to get there unless we move the needle a little bit more to get a better broadcaster. You know, right now we're sitting with Fight, and they're doing okay. I don't know who would be willing to negotiate with us currently. Tough and Mav. Not a lot of big names there. If we were to look at the people that we would maybe want to look at for maybe commercial. I mean, these are, huge, and they're not going to be interested at all. I would imagine, you have to be large, but, getting a cable platform might be really something beneficial. Something like Bravo. We need to be medium, though, for that. Obviously, we fail to meet our production requirements here, and our popularity requirements. Company must have 65 popularity in 9 regions, which is that's a hell of a far cry away. But something like this, 42 in 9 regions, is much more doable. And maybe Sci-Fi also similar. Sci-Fi's a 54. It's a little harder. TNT's also going to be a little bit harder. So, but it looks like something like Pop here is within reach. 45 for WGN America, 45 for My 33, 32 actually in 9 regions for Vice TV. That's interesting because I think it looks like MLW's on there as well. We don't meet the popularity requirements. Do we not? Company has 32 in 9 regions. Are we not 32 in all 9 regions? No, we're not. But we're not far off. Some of these are going to be problems. Like New England is a bit of a problem for us. We've reached it in certain areas, especially our southeast, but not so much growth elsewhere, which might indicate that it's time to start moving some of our pay-per-views around, or even some of our shows, and start touring a little bit. So I think that's an option for us, is to start to hit some of these and start to try to boost these up. so we can get that better TV deal. Now, we have like 3 months, I want to say, on our current deal. We kept these short, expires in 37 days, actually. So we kept these short because I want to jump into these other possible avenues at 35 and 9 regions, 65, 42, 60. Some of these are going to be way outside our reach. El Rey, again, also with 32. So there's some options here for us. But in order to get there, we're going to need to boost up some of these numbers here. And, you know, we're not seeing a lot of movement in the Northwest and New England. So I think we got to start touring. I think that's the plan. I think that's the plan here. Now, the other question will be, what do we do with the NXT problem? New Japan of America currently and NXT are way above us in terms of production value, unfairly so. And right now we are getting a penalty that stacks on our total popularity for our gain for, or not our popularity, but our total score for a show. So if you don't know, I know I've said this before, you get a production value that stacks to a point for every point that you're down from. So if you look at here for production values, broadcasting penalty will range from 3% for being 1 level less up to 7 for being 3 or more levels worse. So you could be 2 levels worse and you'll still be at 3. The moment you're at 3 or more levels worse, you're up to 7. For live broadcast, the range is 2 to 6. So again, you could be 1 to 2 levels less. You'll have a 2%. Total penalty can never exceed 10% of your final show grade. So at most, these will stack up to 10%. So right now we're definitely at that 10% stack because we're so you know, if we're having a show and we're getting a score of 60, we really should be getting a 70, but we're getting these penalties. The problem is that right now we are NXT. I think is our major problem because they're Majestic, which I believe is 2 points higher than us. So we're getting the minimum. So it would not benefit us at all from changing this. The live experience is small. Again, we're 2 points different, so I don't think that would change anything. Industry standard, we would actually be at an even. So that would help us a little bit, but that's really expensive. $75,000 per month for industry standard. I don't know why I couldn't say that. Industry standard production value. Right now we're only paying $7,500 a month. So we would quintuple our cost just to remove 2% penalty. And in music, obviously we have local. Right now they're licensed. So we might be able to remove like a couple percentage points by moving up to in-house. Because I think we're like 3 away at this point. We might actually only be 2 away. But again, costs a lot. I don't know. I just don't think it's worth it. But it's definitely holding us back. And we're kind of, I don't know, over the coals there. We're still losing money a lot. You know, end of the month, we're going to get a little bit of a dip going forward. So we'll be able to see where we're at, but we're not going to be out of the red, I don't think. So, you know, that's sort of the problem. We have an episode worldwide tomorrow, so we won't really see, I think, we might, because it'll flip over. We might be able to see if there's some change at the end of the month, but it's not looking positive. We're at like 54 down right now. So money is an issue, but size is also an issue. Everything's an issue. that's sort of the thing we have to balance here. But I've decided that really the production's just not worth it. So, what I think we're going to do is we're going to start touring probably with this episode and try to boost up those ratings. So, with that said, let's go ahead. Let's start building to the wrestling Woodstock. All right. We are back. What the hell? Ooh, we got something interesting that just happened. All right. So, Breezes was hired by WWE. That's fine. Cody Rhodes had a match in Dragon Gate. We had a Southeast Regional battle result in which we finished only 5 out of 8. So we're actually going to get a reduction. That's horrible. More interesting, though, World Title Heavyweight Championship change at Dragon Gate. Yamato won the World Heavyweight title last night. So currently, right now, if we go and look at our alliance, remember, our World Heavyweight is an alliance title, is no longer Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes has lost the belt, and Yamato has won the belt. That's super crazy and awesome. And we're totally going to utilize that because with with going into the Wrestling Woodstock, we were going to bring in some Dragon Gate guys and start to build up some crossover with the with our show. So that's super cool. Can I just hire him? He's exclusive, so I would need to get an alliance. Now I could actually pull him in for as long as he's champion. But that is interesting. What I do want to do really quickly is try to get some alliance loans, and I kind of want Ultimo Dragon to come in for a show. And why don't we bring who's Yamato's group? Actually, I should probably look at that first. So super cool. We've been wanting a change for a while. I didn't really expect it to be a world heavyweight change, but certainly interesting. You know what? I should probably look at the company. It's going to be easier to find this. If I look here and I look at, because I know they have staples for everyone. Everyone members a high end. Okay, so I don't think I can look up a stable. I think Shun is a member of something else, I want to say. I forget what his group is called. So we got Ben. I know nothing about Dragon Gate, which upsets certain people. Dragon Kid. A lot of people in high end, apparently. Akuda. Let's pull. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna look for anybody that is not exclusive. So I don't think there's a stable. I don't think I could search by stable, unfortunately, which would be a nice addition. Wrestler. Let's see if there's anybody that I could just hire. So Akuda I could just hire. Not active. Ugh, okay, well. So I can't do that. I would need to pull them in for talent trades. So there's 2 ways to do that. We can do alliance trades, or a alliance loan, where we can get a person for like a one-time off thing. I feel like there's a penalty where if you do that too many times, they get fussy. So I want to kind of be careful with that. One of the better ways to do it, though, would actually be to do a talent trade. One of the things I hate about this is that I liked about 2016 better, and hopefully if eventually there's a 2024 or 2025 or a new update, they make a smart addition here. But one of the things that you can do is you can do a talent trade, but it has to be in exchange for a worker. You could do an offer, so you can offer a worker, but that's kind of like pointless. It's not helpful to me. You can do a swap where you permanently swap a person, but there should be an option where I just like give them cold hard cash for a set number of appearances, right? So, you know, we have a pay-per-view, so that's going to be at most 5 appearances. So we would want to pull someone in. So let's pull Akuda in, and he's considered well known. And see who for 5 appearances they'd be willing to pull in, because I can pull someone out of the show. Well, Cody Rhodes. This is the other thing, is that a lot of the people they're just not interested in, and that's I'd be willing to pull Juice. I don't really have strong plans for Juice Robinson on the show right now, to be honest. He's kind of just there, and I think that makes a lot of sense. So let's do that. Right now we don't have to trade Yamato because he's our title holder. So that's interesting, and we'll have to figure out a recap of how that happened. So this is going to be very interesting, because this has totally changed the plan for me a little bit, which is what's exciting. I don't know if you could tell, I was super excited about this, because like you would think I'd be really upset that my title change happened out of the company, and I'm a little bit, because it wasn't how I wanted him to have his first title loss, but it's interesting. So I don't know, I'm interested by it, because it's fascinating. Who else do we want to pull? I think we should pull one more person, so we have sort of a tag team. And I want to pull anybody that's at least well known. Well, let's look at major stars first. Yamato's a major star. Regular star, Shun Skywalker, but Z-Brass is not going to be involved in here. Ben K. I think Ben K is it. Now, fortunately, their popularity just sucks in the U.S. So that's going to be a problem. So let's pull Ben K in as well. And we're going to have a little bit of an invasion, I think. Let's see who can we pull in here. 5 appearances. Go from the bottom. Anybody else that they'd be willing to bring in? Oh, he's unavailable. He's not in bed. Okay. I was like, there's definitely some people that should have been available. This is the most unchoreographed random episode right now, as I'm just trying to figure out what to do here. Normally I would keep this off the camera here, but I don't know. It's just kind of fun to see, trying to figure out what the hell to do. I don't know. But the idea here is we're gonna have a team. So you know, Yamato and then like 2 of his team members, so that we can have some people to work with here. Dragon Kid, 47. It's not really a kid anymore. Has some popularity in tri-state area, which actually is interesting. That might be beneficial. Akuda, we're pulling in. Yeah, okay. So we'll pull in Dragon Kid. That works. Dragon Kid's technical aerials looks really solid, so let's see if we can grab him for a talent trade. Dragon Kid, please. For 5 appearances. Yeah, we're not going to pull Cody. The other problem is there anybody that they're going to want? Kevin Steen. That's not really something we're willing to do. Remy Zane, I'm not really something I'm willing to do. You know what though? Am I? This had their blow off feud. They can cool off for a bit. They're gonna have who won that? Who won that match? I don't remember now. Because that's the question: is whoever lost can go away for a bit. And I think it was Kevin. But we'll look at it here. I'm trying to remember who did it. Who lost? Yeah, Remy defeated Steen, and then Steen, they went to shake hands. Steen couldn't commit, attacked him, walked away. So Steen's gonna leave. And maybe we'll play into that, and he'll do some stuff over in Dragon Gate for a while. After being upset that he left. And that'll give Remy a little bit of an opportunity to do something else. Not Ben K, Dragon Kid. You'd be open to trade Kevin Steen for Dragon Kid, right? Oh yeah, you're so generous, Dragon Gate. So this is the other problem with the talent trades, is that like I wish there was an option where I could just like, okay, I know you don't want them, but what if I also floated like a couple $1,000s to you to take them, to sweeten the pot? Because here's the thing, they're paid $4,000 per show, which is kind of crazy. But part of the reason why we're probably in such financial problems. Dragon Kid's paid $700, and that's the only person that he's like, yeah, that's an adequate change, and that's only because Steen has popularity in Japan. So it's not like what your skill level is; it's like what is their popularity. So it's always kind of like a messed up trade in this game. But for now, I think I'm willing to do it because I think for storyline reasons, I think it makes sense for Steen to walk away for a little bit and go over there and cause drama. So I'm cool with that. So yeah, that's cool. That's wild and crazy and weird. Ultimo Dragon has one appearance left on his contract. Breeze is gone, so Smoking Aces is pretty much done now, which means we're gonna have to repackage Ziggy Dice in some capacity. A lot of morale issues we're gonna have to deal with, but let's get over to the show. First, before that though, we lost 51,000, so didn't really. I mean, we lost less than before, but we didn't lose a lot less. So with that pay-per-view revenue, with the extra broadcast revenue, it still shook out to some major expenses. There was some general miscellaneous fees here that I'm not really sure what these were. Might have been something that we paid on somebody. I thought, I don't see anything. So it might have been like we paid somebody to not be upset. Some media costs per show is going to be what it is. Production costs aren't going to be something we can really change much of. We did increase our merchandise, so that's going to be more expensive. That's fine. Marketing, we don't really have an ability to change. So really workers are the only thing that we can reduce on. And if we have to, we can look at it. But I'd rather, honestly, if there's anything that we're paying on, I'd rather pay for workers so that we can get those bigger numbers. We just need to start being smart about maybe where we tour and try to boost those numbers up. And I think that's where we'll start tonight. So let's go ahead. Let's get to Worldwide. Okay, we do have some backstage incidents to look at. Hopefully nothing crazy. A whole bunch of weird stuff. QT Marshall is a trainer of Jade and Brock, so I'm assuming this is protege work, which is cool. Chris Sabin, though, has got something going on. Brighten the backstage mood, did a funny cartoon drawing of his colleagues. So cool. QT Marshall, presumably, giving Jade some tips. QT Marshall giving Brock Anderson some tips. Mic work, very good. Locker room controls, we're just going to do an open forum. I'm just going to let everybody vent a little bit and try to clear that up a little. Absent workers, just our ref. So, pretty decent pay-per-view. It was only 56, some weaker areas. But big things had happened. Obviously, Rude lost his challenge against Cody. Hayter lost against Allison Kay, but now obviously had this is worldwide. I forget what the score was for that. Allison Kay lost Allison Kay won, but now has a challenger with Jade Cargill. We had a big tag team title change. The bad night for the True Bloodline for Fatu here, and obviously lost his television title. That's a big deal for him. Remy beat Steen in a Texas Death Match, but it's not over. So a whole bunch of stuff was happening that we'll have to play into it. And obviously we have to build towards the Wrestling Woodstock, which is all about the alliance coming together. So I think there's a big opportunity here. So let's go ahead and look at where we want to do this. I think one of the places, I think what we want to do is look for ones that have a little bit of spillover and move over a little bit at a time. So Mid-Atlantic is at 33. I think what we were looking at 32 above everywhere. So we kind of want to look at where we're weakest. This would be a really rough show, though. Only having 96 fans would be pretty rough for us. Where is a spillover for that? Midwest 40. How are we at the Midwest? 101 fans. Let's do that so that we have a little bit of spillover there and there's a little bit more fans. And then we will pick the best option. Generic. So we're touring now. We're gonna do a little bit of tour during the Wrestling Woodstock and hopefully help build us up so that we can get that bigger television contract and get the NWA somewhere positive. So that's the plan here. Let's go ahead. Let's book this show. I'll catch you guys on the flip for NWA Worldwide. Alright guys, we got an interesting episode because everything had to change with this. So, there's a few things to know. We're not going to do any pre-show matches. We're going to try to cut some expenses. Also, the show obviously is going to be heavy focused on this Dragon Gate change. And one of the things I need to do is I need to see how these guys look after this show. So I expect this to be actually a really poorly rated match. Because unfortunately how TEW works is, especially depending on the product you have, it rates popularity very high. And some of these guys are not going to be very popular in America, and that we might have to fudge the numbers a little bit to make it more reasonable. So I kind of want to see how they look out of the gate here. So that's sort of the plan. Know that I expect this to be a pretty poorly received show, but it is what it is, and we'll go in a little bit behind the scenes and I think fix it if we need to. That all said, let's go ahead and let's get on to the first episode of Worldwide for August. So we start off with a footage, little surprise, like it's a this happened last week kind of thing. Surprise upset as the footage shows the shocking turn of events at a Dragon Gate show. Cody Rhodes had put the NWA World's Heavyweight title on the line against the star of Dragon Gate, Yamato, and while the ref was distracted, a mysterious figure dressed all in black had attacked Cody, viciously hit him with a Japanese chair, which is the hardest type of chair, and busted him open and allowed for a window of opportunity for Yamato to capitalize on and ultimately in a shock upset win the NWA World's title. We see Cody in this video absolutely bewildered and shocked. We don't know who the mystery attacker is, if they are aligned with Yamato, if they're not. We don't know, but right now the new NWA World Champion is one of the stars of Dragon Gate, and the culprit that helped him completely at large. This segment does pretty okay. Unfortunately, Yamato underperformed in this little backstage kind of bit, but still got a 58. My hope here is that putting him with Cody a lot will kind of like, get his popularity up, so maybe we don't have to tweak it that much, but we'll have to see. He and all the members of Dragon Gate are very heavily presented in this episode, so kind of giving them the most opportunity possible to kind of showcase something. We start the show off proper with a match. Jacob Fatu versus Homicide. Fatu had a big loss at the pay-per-view, losing the NWA World Television title, and he's out here on a mission to show it was a fluke, and he does so in a 9-minute match against Homicide. Unfortunately, the segment only got a 50. It's probably a little quick, so that probably was what hurt it. Fatu had a 77. Homicide had a 43. Had great wrestling, had a decent reaction from the crowd. Jacob Fatu defeats him with a pinfall. Afterwards, we get a promo from Fatu, which is fantastic, at a 69 segment rating. Very nice. Fatu grabs a microphone. He's snarling into it. He's angry even after his win. He goes and kind of bellows into the mic. He goes, "Ricky Starks. 1-1. Good for you. You see, Ricky, some dominant personalities out there take one loss and crumble to the ground. They can't handle adversity. There's a reason why they call me the High Chief of the Hood, Ricky. All the streets have ever given me was adversity. Knocked me down on the ground again and again and again. All the while, the chosen few of my family were given everything. You cried about the loss of your title. Oh, you're soft. You don't know what real loss is. But I'll show you what that loss really looks like. I'll make you beg me to take that title back, to lift the weight of of all the consequences of your actions off your shoulders. See you soon." This, of course, gains high heat for the True Bloodline storyline. Fatu not done with Ricky Starks wanting the world's television title once again. This does really good. Got the crowd hotter. Uncle Fatu ringside doing well in this segment. So overall, good stuff. And, I'm excited to see this story continue because I think there's legs. And this also gives Fatu a little time away as justification for being away from the world title scene. So that's kind of a good opportunity here to kind of move him away from that. Afterwards, we have Dustin Rhodes coming out. Yeah, this segment didn't do well, and that's just kind of my fear here. Comes out with a little kind of like a podium stand. There's an object draped over it in the center of the ring. And he starts talking about Wrestle Woodstock. And he says, Wrestle Woodstock is soon upon us, one of our first new big tentpole pay-per-views. A first for our company and for what our vision of the future of pro wrestling is. He says a little over 70 years ago, there was a music festival called Woodstock. And it brought people together to celebrate the art and craft of the music industry in unexpected ways. It brought people together that normally wouldn't be. And we plan to do the same, but for pro wrestling. Our alliance has all been about growing and has continued to grow in new avenues and has big things ahead of it. It's added members big and small from all across the world. And this event is about celebrating this union and all the unexpected places it will go. To celebrate that, we announce a new title. He reveals a new title, the NWA Intercontinental title. To reveal this, he invites members of Dragon Gate, one of which is now the NWA World Champion. He brings Ultimo Dragon out. He brings Yamato out. Yamato brings two of his other members of High End. He brings Dragon Kid and Okuda out. They reveal the new international title. It's a title specifically focused on the international members of the Alliance, which we'll talk about a little bit more later. It says challengers from all companies that qualify will be given instructions on how to win this title soon at Wrestle Woodstock. So we're going to have kind of a kayfabed tournament, because idea would be that companies that have members that qualify that are non-US based workers can challenge for the Intercontinental title. At least at the start here, the idea is that they would travel all around the world, kind of showcasing this title. And we're not going to have time for a tournament, so we're going to have kind of an idea of people sending qualified challengers out to compete, and then having a chance to win it at Wrestle Woodstock. Fortunately, the segment doesn't do very good. A lot of this probably has to do with their lack of popularity here. So we'll see how this goes. We might have to tweak everybody involved after the show, just so that we are not, drowning. Afterwards, Cody comes out to interrupt the ceremony. He's fuming. He snarls at Yamato. Says, "You have some nerve to come here with that pile of bones next to you," as he kind of mocks Ultimo Dragon. And with my title around your waist, I don't know who you had as your little crony in the corner, but that was an illegitimate win. I'm going to get it back from you, whether back in Dragon Gate or over here, because without your little black masked freak that you had interfere, I'd beat you any day of the week. And I'll prove it tonight. You and your boys versus mine. So we have a challenge to High End versus Cody, and people of his choosing. We actually lose some heat for the story. Cody looked excellent in it. Got a 45, kind of dragging them through. My hope here is that all of the heavy Cody influence will boost their popularity enough that maybe we don't have to tweak it that much, but we'll certainly have to see. We are a popularity first company because it is a US style company, so this is going to be a big problem with them, and so we might have to tweak it a little bit and give them a little bit of a help after this show's done. That's sort of the plan here, but hopefully we don't have to do that much. Afterwards, you have a pretty good match with the Von Erichs versus Lucha Club. It's just an exhibition match, giving everybody something to do. Von Erichs defeat Lucha Club in 12 minutes. Marshall Von Erich submitted Lince Dorado with an Iron Claw. Metalik, head and shoulders above everybody else. Certainly so. 66, very promising. Good to see. Lucha Club members definitely are going to be people that would qualify for the inaugural Intercontinental Championship sort of challenge as members of our sort of growing, small but growing Mexican luchador contingent on our roster. I don't know if that title will exclusively always be challenged for it. I don't really have enough control over it to say that, but sort of the idea is that the people challenging for it should generally be people that are not domestic U.S. Challengers, because the idea is that it's a title that represents the sort of diversity of the Alliance through other countries, and that kind of showcase those different styles. But it doesn't mean it's always going to be that case, but that's sort of the idea. I want an Intercontinental title to be truly Intercontinental and not just figuratively. This is pretty good, though. Afterwards, the Von Erichs go backstage and cameras roll into them after we hear that there's some kind of, fight that had broken out. As they got through the gorilla position, they were attacked by the Journey Fatu and Juicy. So the Bloodline, the South Pacific Savages, attacking Von Erich, still upset about their loss. Obviously, South Pacific Savages kind of had a match, a little bit of a feud already. They had drama in the tournament that kind of cost them a spot. So it seems like we're still building this. Don't know for how long, though. The segment ratings are pretty poor. I'm just hoping to kind of build these guys up so that they're not, giving us 32s. So we'll see if we can do anything, but it might be a lost cause. We'll have to see. Jade Cargill's debut match versus Camille is fine. Dragged about in the middle. Jade has probably some poor psychology, I would imagine. Penalized for being inexperienced, poor psychology. Yeah, so, we should probably script these going forward. I don't think I had it set for scripted. So, I don't see any scripting I think would be in here. So, something to note. Even that said, 42's not too bad. That's probably about right. Camille only had a 31 here. So kind of a disappointing result for her first match, but we give her a win, and hopefully that builds her up here as a believable challenger for Allison Kay. Obviously, afterwards, we have Allison Kay out on the ringside, staring her down, acknowledging her presence. We'll see what we can do to kind of rehab Jade, and that's kind of what we're focusing on, is how can we utilize her and boost her up so that she could be a believable contender here. Meanwhile, we have backstage meeting Ted DiBiase Jr., who had debuted with his dad in the pay-per-view, shows up to meet with Cody backstage. We had a bit of a storyline with Cody that we never really furthered, and I need to get back to, of the financial situation. And Dustin had said, or Cody had said, he had made a call, and then the DiBiase showed up. So maybe that's related. We'll have to find out, but something we have to get back to. But we got to find the right opportunity. But for now, Ted DiBiase Jr. just happy to be there. Cody's furious about his loss. Obviously, he's bandaged up. He's looking for people to help him. But he sees Ted and his eyes glow. Cody's been pretty much a heel, definitely self-centered heel. But we see here a little bit of like a glimmer of light in him. He's so happy to see Ted that, he doesn't seem like that sort of vengeful, narcissistic person he normally was. He just sees him as an old friend, and that hubris all melts away as he sees Ted, and he just brings him in for a big hug. He's like, "Oh my God, I'm so happy to see you here, man." Ted's glowing too. He's like, "Thank you. It's just great to be here." Listen, man, I saw that video. That's wild. I just want you to know that, if you'd have me, I'd love to have your back out there, just like old times. Cody smiles, just beaming. Like I said, that an old Cody is emerging when he's around Ted DiBiase, and he nods like, absolutely. So Ted DiBiase is going to join Cody out there, like old times, reuniting a friendship here. Ted DiBiase Jr. is underperforming this segment a little bit, unfortunately. We gain heat for the Enter the Cody Gate storyline. Ted DiBiase struggled when going off script, so that is that. But we have a reuniting of an old tag team, an old friendship rekindled here. We got Brian Pillman Jr. versus Colby Corino. Okay match. It's 11 minutes, a 44. It's not great. Pillman looked good out there at a 57, but Colby's like a 37. Didn't do that great. Arn Anderson needs to not be his manager anymore. I should probably change that, I think. That's a little weird. But Pillman defeats Colby Corino. I'm gonna pretend I didn't see that green text and that Arn's not out there, because that would be very weird. Afterwards, though, Kathy Kelly comes out. to interview Pillman, just find out what the hell happened at pay-per-view. You attacked Brock. What's going on? And he interviews him. It's like, the New Horsemen, they're dead. Pillman just says bluntly to her, I don't need a half-dead old geezer and his loser son. I used to be an NWA champion, and I'm working my way from the ground up. And I thought we made a good team, but then I just realized that it was me doing all the heavy lifting. I'm sick of it. There's no more dead weight. It's time for this star to shine solo. Brock hears this. He comes out and he tries to confront him. He's not really he's not furious. He's just kind of disappointed and angry and confused. And he wants to talk to Pillman. But Pillman walks past him and cold shoulders him completely. He wants nothing to do with him. So, we have this weird relationship here with Pillman and Brock, where Brock just wants to be friends with Pillman, and Pillman wants nothing to do with it. He wants the glory. And we'll see what happens here as the Loose Cannons crack storyline continues to advance here. Pillman Jr. came across well, getting better as gimmick. 47 is not too bad. We got another exhibition match with the new NWA World Tag Team Champions, the Motor City Machine Guns versus Breeze and Sleaze, and one of the last matches Matthias Breeze will have here for us as he signed back with WWE, the jerk. Had great wrestling, had a decent reaction from the crowd. Motor City Machine Guns defeat Breeze and Sleaze in 13 minutes. Chris Sabin pinned Matthias Breeze with a Made in Detroit. In terms of in-ring work, Alex Shelley was head and shoulders above everybody else. Does pretty well. Chris had a 61. Alex had a 71. Breeze had a 55. And Ziggy Dice had a 47. Gave us a 57. Got the crowd buzzing. A very good match. And then our main event, we'll see how this does. High End versus Cody Rhodes, Ted DiBiase Jr., and Joe Axel Henning. High End defeat Cody Rhodes. Joe eats the pin here. Yamato pins Joe after Mushigaishi. Cody, head and shoulders above everybody else in ring performance. 69, knows how to work the American crowd the most. Ted had a 40, Joe had a 49, Okuda had a 35, Dragon Kid had a 25, and Yamato had a 38. I think what we'll probably do is we'll give them 10, maybe 10 points in popularity after this, and I think that should equalize. I don't know Yamato's skill set should be really high, so we need to get him, he should be looking close to Cody. So we might need to look at what the popularity is after this, but hopefully we can get it there. Overall, though, at a 54, it's not actually that bad of a match. But High End, as a united team, are able to kind of destroy these misfits, proving that they're going to be a threat, and that Cody's initial feelings of just being able to push him over is probably not going to work. Afterwards, we have a little bit of a square up. Yamato, gloating, holds his title up, knowing that Cody is furious about it, saying that I'm here to stay. I'm not a fluke, and this is a new era for the NWA here. This is the international era now, and you're gonna have a challenge ahead of yourself. You think you're just gonna get it right away. So 57. For the segment, actually, the show I think is probably going to be much better than I thought. Probably a 55. 48. Okay, not as good as I thought. So it was. It did hurt us here. Yamato was on too much. Dragon Kid was on too much. Okuda was on too much. Still increased our popularity in 53 regions. That's all that matters. Remember, we're in front of 101 people in the Midwest, in an area we're not normally. So this is still going to do great to boost us in that area. But yeah, so some things we have to adjust here. All right, we got some decisions, some notices here, some contract signings. We're going to try to bring in the Righteous. I'm trying to bring in some more tag teams, so I thought that would be a good opportunity for us. Still have to get Bill Carr in. Ultimo is gone. He had that one-time loan. We know that. Ted DiBiase relocating for us here Viewing figures, 87, pretty good. And then obviously that's still our title change that was still under. NWA Worldwide feedback was the show was excellent. So overall, it's still pretty good. I'm not too upset about that. Vita Scott retires. Nothing else in note here really going. Noah building up massively. So what I still have to do is I have to remove Impact from their alliance, and we're going to try to make a move to try to bring them in, certainly. But right now there's a couple things I want to do. One of the things is, as we're expanding this alliance, I think I would like to invite a new member to join. And as we're looking to try to expand, I want to find a Mexican promotion. And I don't know if CMLL has a alliance with someone, but I think that would be really cool. No interest in any alliances of any kind. So obviously we could try AAA, but I doubt they're not gonna try Crash, which actually would kind of be interesting. Rejected. I don't know who these guys are. So no Lucha Libre company wants to work with us. So that's a bummer, because I wanted. Now we have some here as an influence. We also don't have anything in Europe, I think. So, we could try to bring someone in. But right now, it looks like at this point, not a lot of people are interested outside of the US. We could try one of these Oceania ones, but I don't know much about them, so I don't want to try. So I was hoping to get a luchador based, like a Lucha Libre based company in, but that doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. So that's fine, because we're going to have some of our own to kind of compete for this international title. But that is certainly a bummer. And of course, we're going to try to make a move to see if we can get Impact in. Because right now we have MLW, we have Stardom, we have Dragon Gate. So we need to get Stardom involved in our women's division at some point, and I think there's plans for that. We have the Championship Wrestlings, obviously. They're sort of kind of sister companies for us, and then Dragon Gate. So if we get Impact, that's going to be kind of a weird big game changer for us, because it'll be a company that's larger than us. So that could potentially shake up things, just like how the Cody situation here shook up. In terms of progress, I'm kind of curious about. I guess he's not on our roster because he's just an alliance loan. But I am curious to see how popularity built just from that one episode. And a lot. Quite a bit, actually. So 16, I don't know. I mean, you guys tell me what you think would be reasonable in the comments. But I was thinking at least giving them a bump by like 10 to 15 points and making them in the 30s. It's kind of unrealistic maybe, but I just feel like there's probably more popularity now than 16. But that said, I mean, we just within one show gave them a huge boost. So we would just be kind of advancing what's inevitable, I think. But that's definitely going to be a problem, because if you look at the skills, I mean, the amount of skill set's fantastic. So really should be working really well for us if we could just boost that popularity up, and we should be getting a decent enough match. I think boosting up by 10 and just making like 26 for now, I think is reasonable, and I don't think that's going to massively affect anything. But let me know what you guys think. Or if I should just let it run and just have some horrible, crappy Cody Rhodes matches. But anyways, that's it for me today, guys. Thank you for joining, and I'll see you next time for another episode of NWA Dynasty.